Hi, my name is Emily and we are live today from the Australian Defence Force Academy in Canberra. In your time here at Adfa, you would expect to be paid a salary while studying for your degree and training for your military career. Degrees are offered in engineering, technology, including cybersecurity, aviation and aeronautical engineering, and arts, business and science. All degrees can be reviewed on our website if you're after more details. You will live on campus at Adfa with access to amazing facilities including private accommodation, a fully equipped gym including a rock climbing wall and a swimming pool with an overwater obstacle course. There are multiple courts and fields, theatres, a library and a cadets mess for meals and social events. Activity options at Adfa are also endless. If you're interested in CrossFit, debating, the performing arts, music, just about any sport or martial art, you will find a club here at Adfa. I'm here tonight with two officer cadets and a midshipman to talk about all of this and to answer your questions about life at the Australian Defence Force Academy. So please make sure you ask any questions. We are here for the next hour. So we'll start with traditional introductions. Can you please share with us your name, your job role and what you're studying here at Adfa?
My name's Christina Liao and I'm a third year officer cadet at the Australian Defence Force Academy. I'm studying a Bachelor of Arts, majoring in Business and Politics, and I'm currently training to become an intelligence officer in the Royal Australian Air Force.
Wonderful.
I'm Midshipman Adam Wall and I'm currently training to be a Weapons Electrical Engineering Officer, and I'm currently studying a Bachelor of Electrical Engineering.
And my name is Officer Cadet Free, Bridget Free, and I'm studying a Bachelor of Computing and Cybersecurity, and I'm a General Service Officer in the Army, also in second year with Adam.
So what made you choose to apply for your particular service? Were you always set on a military career?
Interesting story. I actually started off in the Army. I did a service transfer earlier in the year. I'm very interested in cyber and space. They're like emerging technologies and it's a very exciting time to be working alongside air platforms at this time. In particular, I wasn't actually, I didn't always know I wanted to be in the military. It was something that was brought up to me closer towards my senior years of high school through friends and also through our school careers advisor who actually let me know that it was actually a good option for someone who wanted something that would push me to develop myself and also challenge myself to do things outside what would be in my comfort zone. So, yeah.
So in joining, I knew what degree I wanted to do. So I wanted to get into electrical engineering, but I didn't know what service, or I didn't really know much about the services at all. So I ended up talking to my careers coach, and through them, they showed me all the different avenues, and I decided that Navy was best for me.
And I thought I'd end up as a musician when I first started high school, and then I reached sort of the same time as Christina, my careers advisor at school. We had a massive careers expo. Adfa was given to me as an opportunity, and I was like, definitely, I love IT, this is a great place to go. I get a job with purpose, guaranteed career, and it just seemed like a win-win.
So what kind of experiences have you had at Adfa that a civilian university might not offer?
I mean, there's the classic military side where you get to experience all the things that you would classically associate with military side. So you got the weapons training, you have outfield experience, you have the travel associated with it as well. So for me personally, during my time at Adfa, I've been able to travel all around Sydney. I've been able to go to Melbourne, pretty much all around Australia, and that's just been pretty much to keep me going in Adfa, and it's been amazing.
Yeah. The other thing is we're getting paid to study here, so a lot of that, you know, goes to travelling over overseas when we do have leave breaks and things like that. I know a lot of my friends just came back from Japan and also Europe, so I mean,
it's a huge benefit, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It is.
It's definitely like the military training, and like for us in second year Army, we recently just had our high explosive weapon quals, so we threw grenades and claymores, and that's something like you can't get anywhere else.
Nope, definitely not. So let's talk about living on campus. How have you adjusted to living here at Adfa?
It's definitely a step up from being at home, having your parents do everything for you. So you've got to do your own laundry, you've got to clean your own room, you've got to stay hygienic, however weird that sounds. But it's a step up. It makes you feel, you definitely develop more as an adult. You feel that you're in an environment where you are yourself and you have your own responsibilities. And it's a little bit of pressure, but it's what you need.
I was really excited to come to Adfa because it's the first time I had my own room. I shared with my twin back home, and so this was like I get my own space, I get to actually have a space for me. But then living with 40 people is obviously something not everyone experiences prior to going to college or uni, which we are, and so that was definitely a learning curve. You get to not only get your best mates within your division, but also get to work through different types of conflict management, not to say the least.
I mean, the good thing about communal living is you have that support around you. So if you need any help with academics or like something comes up, you always have your mates on your side to talk to and things like that. So it's a good support network. Yeah.
And I guess it's important to know, you're all coming here together with the same kind of life skills when it comes down to it. If you've just graduated school, it's not often that you've lived outside of home from that point, and all three of you are from out of state, so it's a big move for you.
Yeah, for me it was absolutely huge. I was quite young, graduated at 17 from Queensland, Brisbane, and so this was a big jump. It was a lot colder than I was used to, I'm not going to lie. But I guess everyone else was in the same boat. So as much as you're struggling, you can easily go to the person who lives next door to you and be like, hey, like I'm having these issues. They're like, me too. So that support, as Christina mentioned, it makes everything more worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we do actually have an Adfa Open Day coming up at the end of this month. It is on the 24th of August. Gates open at 9 a.m. So if you're interested in having a look at the campus, having a talk to our cadets, our midshipmen about life at Adfa and what you might expect when you're here, August 24th is the day for you to come and have a look at all of that. We are actually running a competition to come to the Adfa Open Day. So entries are open now for the chance to win a 2-day VIP experience at Adfa. So that includes flights and accommodation, a VIP tour, a meet and greet, plus hands-on equipment experience. So you must be aged between 16 and 22 years old to enter, and entries do close on the 31st of July. You can find more info online, and we will actually post the link here afterwards, so make sure you check that out. It's a great opportunity. Now, we have got some questions coming straight through, so let's jump in. Zishan has asked, is it true that you have to be in Australia for 10 years as a permanent resident? Now, that's an Australian citizenship question, and the answer is yes, you do need to be an Australian citizen. You can find more info about that on the Defence Jobs website, but yes, Australian citizenship is necessary for enlistment into the ADF. Ashley has asked, do you need basic training in order to join Adfa?
Absolutely not. For Army, I rocked up with no prior knowledge. I didn't know what to call a sir or a sergeant. I didn't know the difference. And so you learn all of that when you're here. The first block of single service training for Army is in July of your first year, and that's when you get your head around everything else.
It's the same with Air Force. I think that first year one familiarisation training will set you up for everything, your military skills and all that military knowledge.
So Navy's a little bit different because we have our own course before we come to Adfa. So if you're applying to come to Adfa, you'll go to NEOC first. So this is a year before coming to Adfa. It's called the New Entry Officer course. And in that, you can come into that same as these guys, pretty much blind. You don't need to have any of that prior knowledge, prior experience. It's the same boat.
They teach you everything when you get here.
Yeah.
Exactly. Rest assured, don't worry.
So what's available to study at Adfa?
We've got a wide range of degrees. I personally am studying in arts. We've got engineering. You can go through all the different engineering
So you've got aeronautical engineering, you've got mechanical, you've got electrical. You've also got Bachelor of Technology, which is very similar to engineering, except instead of doing the 4-year degree, you do a 3-year degree, and it's a little bit under the science branch, which Bridget can
so
talk
we've got
a bit more
all
about.
our sciences with majoring in physics, math, chemistry, and then we've now got the new cyber degree, and then there's also the business on top of that, and civil engineering, so a whole range, so more than enough options.
Absolutely, and you can find all the details for those on the Defence Jobs website as well. It lists in detail the different degrees that you can do. I guess a misconception with Adfa is that you must do, an engineering or some kind of aeronautical degree as well. People don't realise that you can do a Bachelor of Arts.
Yeah, you can. And I think the good thing about a Bachelor of Arts is if you don't really know what you want to do, you can choose what to major. So you, as an arts student, you pick 2 majors. For me, it's business and politics, but you can pick Indonesian or even history or English. There's so many choices.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So James has asked, what kind of an ATAR do you need to get into Adfa?
It depends on your degree again. So with an arts, it was a 75, I believe. And
engineering, it was approximately 80. depending on which stream you want to go into.
Yeah, it is dependent on degree. I was from Queensland, so my OP got converted.
There you
so
go.
I didn't quite know what I ended up in, but I got the offer.
It will differ for service and job role, absolutely, but you can talk to your enlistment coordinator. Is that how you guys found out what you needed to get through?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And also the defence website's always available with all that information. Yeah.
So Ethan has asked, is there a need for a trade or uni degree for the Defence Force? It looks like he's 16 and thinking of joining. What advice do you have?
I think, so for the way it was posed to me was, as an officer, you want that type of thinking. That's really what they're looking for, is that ability to, that willingness to learn, understand, and like want to expand your knowledge. And that's kind of what a uni degree gives you. It gives you a different way of thinking. You're exposed to so many different lecturers, different people around you, all who are in the same like boat as you, wanting to achieve. And so I think it's absolutely necessary within any job, like job role or workforce, and Defence Force is no different.
I think the other view for that would be it's just another thing to just build you as a worldly officer. I think as an officer, something really important is your knowledge that you're willing to learn, like Bridget said, and also it's just quite interesting to do a bit of study alongside your military career because, you know, on top of being military officers, we're also people who just want to learn things. Yeah.
Exactly. And I guess in terms of needing a trade or uni degree to come to Adfa, you all came straight from school. So, I mean, the point of coming to Adfa is to get your degree, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Carly asked, is the pay good from the first day you join? Very important question.
For a 17, 18-year-old coming straight into the workforce, it is amazing.
It's amazing.
Getting paid to study is a big deal.
It
Getting
is.
paid to study is beyond what I thought was possible.
And if you're smart about it, like you can really be put forward to great trips overseas. I bought a car, which I never thought I'd be able to do after 1 year of saving, and so like it's a great opportunity.
There's no HEX fees as well, so less pressure on you.
No debt.
Yep.
Yeah, my mate's saved up for 2 years and he's already got 2 houses. So,
Wow.
Yeah, he's done well.
Rebecca asked, how many breaks do you get each year?
It'll depend on the service, but we've got things called book periods, and they're basically the 2 weeks to about a month worth of leave where you can just go visit your family and friends, or even go overseas, like we mentioned before.
So these are like during the middle of the semester and end of the semester. So you've got 2 semesters each year and there's around 4 breaks, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on your service. And yeah, plenty of time to see your family, catch up with loved ones, see your friends all around Australia now that you've made them. And
For the Army, we have a lot of training on each year because of all the qualifications we're required to get. But there's always at least those 2 weeks in the middle of the term that they try and give you so that you have that proper break from uni. But the middle of the year is really, really useful, and that's always a training block, which is fun.
And it is true that Defence will pay for a couple of your trips per year, is that right?
Yep. So 3 in total a year that your leave will be paid for, and that's for you to visit your family.
Also, if you have dependents or partners, that rises up to 7 trips. So 4 reunion travel and then 3 normal.
Yep.
Great. Steve asked, how hard was the recruitment interviews to become an officer, and is there any tips or suggestions?
So every officer selection board, which is the final step in the application process, you do your U session, then you do your aptitude and assessment day, and then if you get to open up either Adfa or an officer as one of your job roles, you then get to go towards the officer selection board, and every service has something different that they're looking for in terms of knowledge, but really doing your homework and being yourself are like the key things that we can always suggest. It may sound cliche, but putting your best foot forward, knowing what you want out of this career as well, so you're not there being like, oh, I just think it's a good opportunity. You're like, oh no, I'm here because it can really make me a better person.
Yeah, sorry. And you don't need to feel the pressure either, because they're not looking for you to be a leader now. You don't need to have those leadership skills. They're looking for potential, and they're looking for someone that they can help develop and become a leader.
Exactly. Like that's why we do training, because we want to develop from a point. So there's no point in recruiting someone who might have all the attributes already if they're not going to develop. So you don't have to be the school captain. You don't have to be in those. Leadership comes in many different forms. Like leading can mean just being proactive in knowing what you want and pursuing those things and inspiring others to do things that they might not want to do otherwise. So
And I guess another way that you can prepare is also in your schooling, that's right?
Yeah, exactly. So in schooling, it's always important to time manage, always have that focus on what it is you want, and also learning to balance that work and life as well.
Also with schooling, because you're coming to Adfa and you need that ATAR, you need to prepare in that time as well so you can reach your needed ATAR for your degree.
Yeah.
Christina, you actually spoke to us earlier about how the prospect of going to Adfa really encouraged you at school. So let's hear a bit more about your journey now. Christina, would you say that your schooling influenced your decision to apply for Adfa, or was it Adfa that influenced your schooling?
I'd say Adfa definitely influenced my schooling in the way that I knew I wanted to get into Adfa, so that really pushed me to focus on getting the grades and also building myself up to train for the fitness standards and stuff. I actually found out about Adfa through a careers advisor, and a friend of mine, we both trained together to build our fitness standards up, especially for push-ups.
Now, Adfa obviously focuses on two avenues. You have your civilian degree and also your military career. What have you learned in your leadership and management training that you'll be able to use in your defence career?
Adfa's really taught me about the different leadership styles, and throughout our training we've always been exposed to different leadership styles through our divisional officers and a lot of the networking with other officers in the various services. So we can really take what we find or what resonates with us as good qualities of an officer, but also that myself being an introvert, I've learnt that you don't have to be the loudest person to be a leader. I think there's also value in being able to listen to ideas as part of that empathy in being a leader, understanding your subordinates and what they want as well, so that you can really enhance them and how they can put themselves forwards.
And how do you plan to use your degree in the Air Force once you've graduated from Adfa?
I'm actually training to become an intelligence officer in the Royal Australian Air Force. So I'd say with my arts degree, because we do a lot of reading, I definitely say a lot of the soft skills we can bring into that workforce. So reading a lot of data and then being able to select bits of information that you can really then present to your commanders for their decision making. That's something that I'd say I can use my degree for as I head into the Air Force.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So as well as feeling at home here in the library, Christina, I loved your comments about leadership. Would you all agree that Adfa offers good leadership opportunities and skills? I mean, perhaps you can tell us how they go about this and how you plan to use them in your defence careers moving forward.
Sure. There's so many different leadership development opportunities here at Adfa. We've got our leadership challenges across the years. So we've got 3, one first year, then one in second and third. And those are really good for you to just develop and understand how there are different types of leadership styles, and for you to really experiment and find what's true for you and what works. You learn from your officers who supervise you as well, the good qualities, what you can take on, and also maybe find things that might work for other people and may not work for others, and just being able to balance that and taking what appeals to you, like I mentioned before.
Yeah, it's not only these leadership challenges as well, it's everyday life, because you're exposed to the military community throughout your whole time at Adfa.
Yeah.
So you're able to see these good leadership examples and you're able to develop your own style further as well.
And like, not only that, it's just like the networking opportunities we get. So at dining in night or other social events, you're expected to be able to mingle with high ranks and obviously not embarrass yourself, but also just, that's such a good opportunity to practice different skills, just being able to talk to people. Within JMET this year, so our joint military education training, we've had debates. And so people who aren't confident public speakers get that chance to really practice and improve.
Yeah, we've also got the leadership appointments in third year. And also throughout the clubs, there's also like presidents and stuff like that. Plenty of opportunities for you to practice leadership as well. So it's not always one or the other, it's always across everything that we do. So
yeah, absolutely. So Jared asked, I've already started a degree at uni. Can I still apply to Adfa, and will this be available as a video on demand after the live stream finishes? The end of that question is yes. This will absolutely still be available online. But in regards to the degree at uni, can you still apply to Adfa if you started?
Yeah, so it's the way that we're studying at Adfa, it's quite open. So there's a variety of different schemes that you can get into. So whether you come with just fresh and you're getting a fresh degree, or whether you already have a couple credits tied down, you can still go through Adfa and still complete a normal degree as well. So those, depending on how you organise it with the university, some of those credits can count.
Yeah, if you, for example, did study a business degree and a lot of those credits do transfer, then you might just have to underload, for example, for a couple of these years, but it's very readily available and easily done. Just talk to the uni.
Perfect. Jet asked, he was wondering, how many hours a day do you study?
Depends on degree.
Definitely. I definitely say the engineers probably can speak to this a bit more.
So currently, electrical engineering, thankfully, is quite light this year, so I'm on 22 hours, whereas mechanical engineering, I think they're at 26, 27 hours per
A week?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah, as a cyber, we're sort of in line with the science stream in terms of our class hours. I think we're at 16 at the moment. So, and on top of that, it's more the subjects that you're struggling with. You'll obviously need to put more effort into. The uni recommends 8 hours per subject of study a week. However, sometimes that isn't manageable. So you obviously, with the help of your friends, you make study groups, you put out chats saying like, here's the notes from this lecture, etc., etc. It's quite easy to stay on top of if you're proactive about it.
Yeah.
I think with the arts degree, because we do have a lot less contact hours than our engineer and cyber friends, we do have a lot more flexibility in how you can put your studying times in. Most of the studying will be reading texts and comparing and running essays and things like that. So you can fit that in with also going to the gym and things like that, making time for other things. Yep.
Well, I guess on that, we can talk about what a typical day might look like at Adfa for you.
Yeah. Depends on the year. These guys are the second years, maybe they'll start first.
Yeah, we wake up at 7 in the morning, except on a Monday where we wake up at 6 because we have inspections. And that's your roll call to daily check-in to check that everyone's awake and ready to get started. Then from 8 till 10, every day is our JMET that I spoke about earlier, which is either your junior officer staff skills or different leadership lectures, briefs, all those different topics. And then from 8 till 6 every day, roughly for the engineers, it's class and then sport or free time in the evening, study, your life.
And it's not a full day either from 8 to 6. There's plenty of hours off in between. Sometimes you might even have a whole afternoon off, and that's amazing. Yeah. Especially lucky for me, sometimes.
The engineering degree is much more complex though.
Yes, definitely in like study hours wise.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you do have free time, after first year, you can actually go off base. So if you need to do your groceries or something, plenty of time to do that. Yep.
So you're absolutely not tied to the campus, are you?
No, you're not.
No.
Catch a movie, get a feed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Taj has asked, Taj is 15, approaching the time when he can start the application process for Adfa. So would you recommend applying and going through the process as early as possible?
Definitely.
I would definitely recommend going as early as possible. So I applied as soon as I turned 16. It was something I had been looking at, similar Taji, when I was 15. And so it was as soon as I could, because every application process is so different. It's very case dependent, and that depends on the time. The others beside me, they had relatively short application processes. Mine took roughly about a year to go through. And in a way that was good because I got my offer in July of my grade 12. And so I was able to be like, okay, the only thing stopping me now is my grades. So it gave me something like that, a lot of motivation and something to focus on.
Some time to actually focus on your HSC and getting the role.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt asked, a cyber degree sounds really cool. So I think Bridget would agree. What are the uni facilities like at Adfa compared to other universities?
I've only experienced Adfa as a university, but I think the facilities are 100% awesome. We've got the cyber training rooms downstairs in the library that are a closed network, and that's where we do a lot of our penetration testing, a lot of our forensics, and a lot of that sort of black box stuff, because it's obviously not connected, so we can't break anything. And so that's our digital forensics lab down there, as well as we've got, so the uni side of things, all your lecturers often doing their theses and that sort of thing in either AI, that was one of my lecturers last year, or like hive mind, droning, and that sort of stuff. So definitely, like, cyber is a growing thing. I love my computing, so I think the facilities here are incredible.
And so do you find, because cyber is actually quite new here at Adfa, and it's something that's gaining momentum pretty quickly, are you finding that more and more people are coming through as the interest grows?
Definitely. So we were the first year to be officially called the cyber degree. Before that, it was IT, and then it got reworked a bit. So now we're computing and cybersecurity.
Yep.
And every year it continues to grow. We've got more interest in the Air Force. They've introduced a cyber warfare officer
Oh, wow.
as a career path. And so they've just opened up the new cyber unit in Melbourne for the Army. So it's clearly a growing thing in defence. I don't think I'll ever be out of a job. And so that's a real comfort for me.
And is that somewhere you're looking to head once you graduate from Adfa?
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking at Signals Corps or Intelligence, which is where the cyber part of Army is really going to sit. And if I am lucky enough to get my core preferences, I'll be really, really happy and live behind a computer.
Patrick asked, I guess the opposite, what are the sporting options here in Adfa, and do you get breaks to train and to play?
There are so many sporting opportunities here at Adfa. We've got things from rugby to basketball to netball, AFL. We've got swimming as well, dancing.
Yep, so we've got a couple smaller sporting clubs. So we've got dancing, we've got performing arts as well, we've got handball.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything under the sun. If it doesn't exist already, you can pretty much make it here. You can make it a thing.
Yeah.
I feel as though that's definitely the case for the Adfa Open Day last year. It was a really great opportunity to have a look at those existing clubs and what you might be interested in. They will obviously be here again this year, so it'll be a great opportunity to have a look at the kind of sporting events that you can do here and what kind of clubs that you can participate in once you're here.
And every one of the sports, like they obviously love their sport. We've got the rugby team, they're heading overseas at the end of this year to compete internationally. So definitely there are those sporting opportunities as there would be at any other uni. We're no different.
Yeah, and on top of that, we've got our uni games actually as well,
yeah.
where we compete interstate, just friendly competition. The various clubs, they bring groups of people to, say, Queensland, and everyone just competes against the other universities in some friendly matches.
So outside of, I guess, the sporting clubs, what other kind of opportunities are there? I know you're all involved in some capacity in a club here.
Yep. For me personally, I love band, so I'm in 3 bands at the moment. I play alto saxophone in the marching band, pep band and jazz band. So you can choose any instrument really to play and just fit yourselves in one of the bands. Instruments are all here, so you don't actually need your own one. You can just hire from the academy itself. And we do a lot of tours across Australia as well sometimes. For Anzac Day, we went to Goulburn, which is a very good opportunity to just do some marching and also just practice music in a different environment. So, yeah.
Yeah, so me personally, I'm doing both PAC and dance troupe. So PAC is a performing arts company. So it's a bit weird, but not something you'd expect out of defence, but it's been absolutely amazing here. So whether you're into singing, acting, or dancing, everything's there for you. And this year I've been privileged enough to be in the choreography side of the house, so that's been an awesome challenge, great leadership opportunity as well, and it's developed me immensely.
It's definitely not weird.
In my side of things, there's the cyber we have, there's also Focus, and I'm a part of the strings group. So there's all 6 of us that play a string instrument, which is always really exciting. But in terms of like even smaller sports, I'm part of the Frisbee Club, and so there's so much that you can never not have an option available.
So Sam asked, can you still have a social life? Do you get to go out much? No, definitely not.
There's a huge misconception that everyone thinks that being in the military, we're all just, that's all we are. We do military things and only that. Not at all. We've got tons of opportunities to have our social lives. We're just like everybody else. We have time off on weekends to just go wherever you want in Canberra, to be honest, and hang out with your friends, visit family.
Yeah, it's definitely still very much a university, so that social aspect is definitely still there. Yeah.
There are more than enough social events throughout the year. Yeah, and like every weekend that you get off, you'll always have some mates to catch up with, have a bevy with. It's a good life.
Great. James asked, what sort of leadership experience do you need?
You don't really need anything. They're looking for potential. They're not looking for you to already have those skills, but somewhat it is beneficial, but you don't need it. Yeah,
because you'll learn it all here through your training. I mean, the most you need is, I think, a positive attitude and a good mindset, knowing what you want and staying focused and finding something that really motivates you to keep going. Having a bit of mental resilience and also physical resilience.
I guess like any leadership experience you can get is the best way to answer that. So if you are working a part-time job, at the moment, or you're possibly looking at applying for a school leadership position, just go for it. If nothing happens, the application process has made you better.
Yeah.
And so they're looking in your boards for those sort of just willingness to go for it and put yourself out there and take that risk.
And there are so many elements within leadership as a title, I suppose. When we spoke to you, Christina, you spoke about the fact that you would be more of an introverted leader. So there are so many components of that, like time management, components that you would have, which is what they would be looking for as well, as opposed to necessarily just leadership experience per se.
Exactly. There's so many different styles. Again, like we said before, Adfa is a very good, safe environment for you to really find your personal leadership style and to develop, because we are a training institution. We're just developing ourselves to find what works for us.
And it's not only developing your leadership style as well, it's maturing in an adult environment as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're really growing as a person, and you're beginning to understand how to really talk to different people, to understand them, and to really put yourselves in their shoes and understand where they're coming from.
Exactly.
So, Bridget, we actually spoke to you earlier in one of the amazing cyber labs that we have here that you just spoke about, and you told us how amazing the friendships that you have made here have been. So let's hear about how important friends have been on your journey. So Bridget, can you tell us where we are?
So at the moment we're in the new cyber facility. This is Cyber Training Room 2, and this is where I had my digital forensics and intro to cyber classes last year.
Now, you came to Adfa directly from school. Did you have any kind of independence prior to moving state and coming to Adfa?
Definitely not a whole lot of independence. So I moved when I was 17, because that's when we graduated high school in Queensland. I'm from Brisbane, lived in the same house my entire life, same room, shared a room with my twin sister. So this was a big move and a big change for me in my life. But like, the friends you make and the opportunities you have are so worthwhile. I've never been closer to a bunch of people. My division from last year is the closest group of friends I'll ever have. And that support network just helps you through any challenges you might meet, including like the leadership challenges we have at Adfa, but also just the regular challenges of study and time management and just committing to this lifestyle change.
So why did you choose Adfa over a civilian university?
For me, it is about that career in defence. As much as I love getting a degree, and that was really important to me and my family, I love IT, I love computing, and so this was the perfect opportunity. But I want to have a career that's both meaningful and purposeful, and I know has made an impact. And so hopefully upon graduation from RMC after my 4th year, I'd love to join either Signals or Intelligence Corps and really use my degree in cyber to make an impact in the Defence Force.
And what do you personally love about Adfa?
I love the people. It sounds cliche, but the friends you make are absolutely worth it. I have living next door to me Mackay, Perth, and then Adelaide, all of my best mates now from all over Australia. And then also internationally, I've got a Fijian in my division who's absolutely wonderful, and I now couldn't imagine not knowing. And so the people make it so worthwhile because they become your support network and the closest friends they've ever had. But it's also the opportunities you get. So I've been able to head to different networking events. I headed to B-Sides this year, which is a cyber conference in Canberra. And then later this year, I'm also heading over to Texas on exchange, which is an opportunity I wouldn't get anywhere else.
Absolutely. So no doubt when you come back from Texas, you'll have even more friends around the world. So tell us a little bit more about this exchange program. When are you going over to do it, and how long will you be there for?
So I leave in August, and it's 4 months where I do my second semester over there in Texas A&M University, which we have an exchange program with. So we have 2 of their cadets over here at the moment studying with us. And I put in an expression of interest, as most of the academy did, and was lucky enough to be chosen on what is such an awesome opportunity.
Absolutely, and these are the kind of opportunities, I guess, that you get here that you perhaps wouldn't see outside of, or in a different university. Those kind of exchange programs, they're fantastic.
Yeah. And on top of Texas, we run, like Adfa itself runs a lot of battlefield study tours throughout the year. So we go to Kokoda, we look at New Britain, where else did we go?
Vietnam as well.
Vietnam, yeah. And so there are heaps of opportunities to travel with people from your cohort and get that military experience.
Yeah, fantastic. Now look, Jack has asked a very important question. What's the food like at Adfa?
It's definitely very diverse. It's like a cafeteria, it's buffet style. You can choose your greens, you've got your proteins, a wide range of food. Say that.
I enjoy it. I do. It's good food. It's not as nice as a home-cooked meal, but it's good.
Your food is all paid for.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
3 meals, 3 times a day. You can't complain.
Exactly right. Now, we've got a question about fitness. Is the fitness test crucial for qualifying for Adfa? At least that's another misconception that we have as well.
It is. To be honest, I think Bridget and I can both say to this, you don't have to be the fittest person to join Adfa at all, because you have that time at Adfa to develop your fitness. And the PTIs here are very good, the physical trainers are very good at building you up, personalising your exercise programs to develop what you might think you might not be so good at. So there's plenty of opportunities, and also from my understanding, there's always a chance for you to go, okay, I might not be so good at push-ups, for example, and that's something that you might focus on.
Yeah, personally coming in, my running skills were really not up to scratch. They were really, I was really quite bad. I came into my first assessment and I think I failed it by about 2 minutes. And then I improved on that by, like, the time overall by 30% in about 2 weeks, like, through the help of PTIs, and that was just, yeah, amazing development. And even now, I'm amazed at how much I've grown, like, physically. It's been amazing.
It's definitely, Adfa is the place to start. Like, it's a starting point, and it's only from here that you're going to improve. I arrived being able to do the minimum, and that was it, and that was a push. Like, your last push-up gets real wobbly towards the end. And then it's only this year that I've really felt strong enough to complete what is now the Army fitness standard, so 21 push-ups for the females, and it's only going to grow from here. The improvement is dramatic, and with the help of your friends who also want to see you improve, and the PTI staff, you can really work on it here as the opportunity. So prior, it's a fitness test, that's all it is.
And how did you feel coming through? I mean, it's amazing that you have that support and that assistance from the physical trainers and from your mates once you get here at Adfa. How did you find the actual application process and getting past that pre-entry fitness assessment right before your appointment?
So personally, I was really lucky. I was one of the lucky few who managed to get through in about 4 months.
Yep.
So I started my application process and pretty much flew through the whole assessment day, flew through the medical, and I almost didn't fly through the physical, but I managed to get through that, and just, yeah, I'm really glad that I got the opportunity to get here, because I applied really late in the year as well. I was really pushing the time limits. I ended up on the last OSB of the year, and that was extremely lucky.
And what kind of opportunities would you say were made available to you to help with your fitness to get through that fitness assessment?
So there was the fitness training app that DFR offers, and also just in the civilian side, I had like a couple friends that were just pushing me like alongside as well, because they wanted to get fitter, and yeah, I realised that was a bit of a shortfall for me, so I started pushing.
How did you girls find it?
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. I think there's a program that's available now, focused for actually females who think that, you know, maybe need an extra push to reach those standards, like maybe push-ups or something like that. It's an 8-week program, I believe. There
are a variety of programs available now for females, including the Fit Prep program, which you can inquire about through DFR if you're interested. But more so about, I guess we can talk about the ADF Active app and getting mentoring from your careers coaches and the guys at DFR to get you through that physical or that pre-entry fitness assessment.
I think that was like the really important thing. Talk to them about how you're feeling, be like, hey, this is something I'm worried about, and they'll give you so many suggestions. They're not there to stop you getting in. They're there to help you get in. That's their purpose. And so for me, it was using the Active app. I was helped out by Women in Defence program, which was running my Brisbane DFR recruitment, which they ran a session for us about this is the right technique. This is how you can really make sure you hit those margins so you don't get a fail on a push-up, etc. And just committing to being like, hey, this is something that I'm going to go for, and I'm required to have my 8 push-ups, so I'm going to get there.
It's a lot about the mentality of it, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, and you can do it. Everyone can do it, 100%.
And it adds, like if you train with your friend, it helps, you have that extra little push, and you also help each other to build each other up for your fitness as well.
Yeah, definitely don't be nervous about it as well. Like if you have any doubts, just talk to your careers coach, because they're there for you. Yeah, don't put it off, because you'll just end up hurting yourself.
Now, Angela has asked if there is an age limit for Adfa. I guess we can talk to how old you guys were when you applied and what kind of people you have here with you at the academy.
The age limit is 16 for Adfa specifically. I personally applied at the beginning of my last year of high school.
Okay.
But you can apply a bit early, I believe, I think. Bridget?
Yeah, so I applied when I was bang on 16, but within my first year division we had a very wide range of people and age ranges. We had one girl who was born in September of 2000 and she was our youngest, so we were both 17, and then our oldest went all the way up to 29. So the age range is incredibly varied and everyone's in between, but you can all learn and grow together, I guess is the most important part.
Yeah, so for Adfa, the minimum age is 16, but if you're going for any other role outside of Adfa, the minimum age is 16 and a half. So I believe that includes Navy, like general entry for officer. And yeah, so I think I applied when I was 17, but by the time I got in, I was 18. Yeah.
Maximum age limits will vary depending on job role as well. That's all available on the website. If you click on the individual job titles, you'll be able to see age limits there for that one. James asked, does your degree need to relate to the job that you're doing?
It's very dependent on what job you're doing. In a lot of the engineering roles, yes, you need to have a relevant degree. In the Army, however, it's a little bit...
So I guess if you're looking at an electrical engineering role, potentially electrical engineering is important as a degree.
Yeah, indeed.
For the Army, because we all come in as general service officers, so unlike the Navy, the Air Force, we don't have our specialisations. It's very much after my year after Adfa at the Royal Military College, where I do just Army training, I'll put in my preferences to a corps and then hopefully get assigned one that they think not only meets my talents but also meets what they're looking for in terms of personnel capability and everything else. So I know someone in Signals at the moment who studied an arts degree, and then I know a non-tech combat engineer who studied science. So it's very, very, very varied.
And I mean, in the Air Force, it's the same deal. Depends really on your job role, but also just what you're interested in. Study what you want to do, because in the end, I think you'll do better if you do something that you're interested in.
Absolutely. And I mean, you're looking at intelligence.
Yep.
Once you graduate, and you're studying...
I'm studying an arts degree. Yep, so I'm majoring in business and politics. And I think a lot of the skills you can bring in with an arts degree are, like we said before, some of the soft skills. So taking apart information, doing tons of reading and selecting what you think is important, stuff like that. Yeah.
Sally asked, what is the accommodation like at Adfa?
It's really not that bad at all. We get our own rooms. There's 4 to a half section, what we call them. And within those 4 people, you share a laundry, toilet and bathroom. And then you make up one whole section, which is a floor of people, so 8 people. Yeah. And then 40 people in a division normally. And it's awesome. Communal living is different, but the support network that we spoke about earlier is there, which is absolutely amazing.
And also the social side of that as well is beyond anything, yeah.
So how do you think you would have felt, if you're picking up from school and coming to Adfa and not staying in group accommodation, where you were with your peers?
I definitely feel like I missed out on a lot of friendships.
Yeah.
A lot of possible good mates that I wouldn't have found anywhere else. The first 4 boys that I came into, that came to Adfa with me, my initial half section, they were absolutely key. They're my really good mates right now.
That's the thing, with our divisions, we went through YOF together, so U1 familiarisation training, and you end up going through most of your time here at Adfa with your division mates and also members of your squadron. So you get really close with them and understand each other a lot more. And you do a lot of activities, not just our divisional activities like military training or anything like that. You also do a lot of sporting activities, social events. So you'll get to know your friends very well.
Speaking of YOFT, Apple has asked, they've heard a lot about YOFT. Is it as hard as they say it is? So remind me again what YOFT is.
YOFT is U1 familiarisation training, where it's to really set you up for that transition from civilian life to the military lifestyle. So it's split up into 6 weeks, where at the beginning it's really about learning those general military skills, understanding how everyone lives in a communal area. It might be the first time you've ever lived with 40 others.
Or dare say for many it would be the case.
Oh, definitely. Learning how to iron your first poly shirt.
Yeah, so you get all your uniforms, you get taught how to march correctly, how to not only wear your uniforms, and then you get all your normal lectures on the ranks of what each service provides, what Adfa is all about. You have one uni day in YOFT where you get to go in and make sure you're all enrolled correctly. And then it's all working up to the CDF parade, which is at the start of every year for Adfa. so our Chief of Defence Force parade, and that's where all the second and third years, they join you, and it's the first time you march together as a corps, which is really, really memorable.
Yeah.
And right on that day, you can bring your family and friends down to see how much you've grown. And I think they'd be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, YOF's really about coming together as a division, so all 40 people coming together as a team, really developing those initial relationships and getting to know everyone and just making really good friendships.
Now, I guess an important question, we talk a lot about the university aspect of Adfa and about completing your degrees. Is your degree recognised internationally?
Yes, it's a normal university degree, as you would anywhere else.
Yeah, so I guess super important to mention that is a full civilian university degree that you are offered and that you're given here.
Yep, so my degree gets recognised with Engineers Australia, which is, internationally renowned. So,
It's another campus of UNSW.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Now, Adam, we got to catch up with you yesterday and have a chat about how you've been able to participate in a range of different groups and activities. We've talked a little bit about them to date, but let's hear a little bit more about your life here at Adfa. Adam, explain to me where we are.
So we're in the electronics lab at Adfa. So this is where I spend most of my time for my lectures and my labs. It's also where I work on projects and get a general understanding of what electronics are.
Now, what came first for you, your degree in electrical engineering or your job role in the Navy?
So initially I knew that I wanted to study electrical engineering at Adfa. However, I didn't know which service I wanted to get into or what job role I wanted. So through going through DFR and going through their career coaches, I was able to find that I wanted to join the Navy as a weapons electronic engineering officer.
What kind of extracurricular activities do you do here at Adfa?
So at Adfa, I'm a bit unique, I guess. I am involved in both PAC and dance troupe. So PAC is the performing arts company, so where everyone gets to act, everyone gets to sing, and everyone gets to dance. So with that, I've been privileged enough to work in the choreography department. So working with 60 plus people, getting dancers together and just making it look absolutely amazing. Before I came in, I didn't even know that this was a thing at Adfa. So I was pleasantly surprised that I was able to continue my passions that I was interested in before coming to Adfa and being able to continue them here.
And how do you feel that you've developed both personally and professionally here at Adfa?
So professionally, we're exposed to different types of leadership styles, and from there, we're able to develop our own style. Also, we're exposed to the theory side of it, so we're able to learn which different styles are useful in different situations. Also, personally, I've been able to develop such tight relationships with the people I've been with, so both living and in lectures. Also, people that I've been performing with in PAC and dance troupe.
Fantastic, thanks. So Adam, it is safe to say that you love your extracurricular activities here at Adfa. Those photos looked fantastic in your time at PAC and in your dancing career. So if you'd known about those kind of options here prior to appointing, do you feel like perhaps you would have applied a wee bit earlier?
Yeah, definitely. Because I only applied for 4 months before coming in. That was a little bit risky on the side, because if I had a medical issue, I wouldn't have gotten in until the year after, especially if I was joining Navy.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, because there's so many different opportunities here that I've only just experienced now, and I really wish I knew. Yeah.
So Alex has asked, can you walk right into a job after getting a degree?
For all of us, we are guaranteed employment. That's the best part of it. We're not on the unemployment scheme like many of our friends who might get degrees from other universities. For the Navy and the Air Force, they're specialised already, so they have their job roles. And for the Army, after that year in RMC, we'll join a corps and get our job as an officer.
And it does work a little bit differently for yourself as a general service officer. Would you like to just explain that one a little bit?
Yes, so unlike the Navy where they do their year prior, we do our year after. And so RMC by itself is actually normally 18 months. And what Adfa does is we take those first 6 months and turn them into our 3-year training. So we do allow that first 6 months of officer training over 3 years with all our weapon qualifications and leadership skills. Then we'll head over the hill for a year of second class and first class, and then graduate as Army officers.
Fantastic. And we noted already what corps you're looking to appoint in?
Hopefully looking at signals or intelligence, but once again, that's 2.5 years away, so we'll see what happens.
Now, Ashwin has asked, he's attending an OSB in September, so can you please explain the process of an OSB and how you can best prepare?
Firstly, congratulations. It's a very good achievement. I think the first thing is to find out as much as you can about the role that you're going for, the service as well, and also have an understanding of at least why it is you wanted to join. That's a really important thing, because as you go through, when you meet certain challenges, it's something that you can really look back on and to really help motivate you through that period of time, yeah.
And I know it's going to sound cliche, but yeah, be yourself, because if you're putting on a different face, if you're not being who you're going to be, then it's going to sort of reflect on you poorly, like in the future, and it's not going to be who you want to be like shown as an officer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Agreed. No further points.
Fantastic. James has asked, how do you apply for ADFA?
DFR. Defence Force Recruiting.
Yeah.
Defence Jobs website.
And it is important, I guess, to note that when you're applying for Adfa, or the Defence Force Academy, it is a dual application process. So you're looking at the military application through DFR as well as your civilian university application. So can you talk a little bit to that?
So with the uni side, I think you do have to put it in as your first preference.
Yeah.
That was something that I had to do. So bearing that in mind, make sure you do prepare enough time so that you've got not just that, the other side, the military side, doing all the interviews and things, but also planning for the time you have to study to get the ATAR that you want. So plan ahead is what I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, on your list of preferences when you graduate year 12 and you're looking at other unis, just put ADFA at the top with this degree, and if you've got the right ATAR and you've got the military side all wrapped up, then you're good to go.
Fantastic. Tyler asked, do you do specific officer training at ADFA as well as Duntroon if joining as an Army officer?
You do. So that's what we call our single service training blocks, and that's when we all get to separate and you get to meet just your Army cohort from each year. And so recently, all the second years just did our high explosive package, which was claymores, grenades, and then the year before was the minimi and your pistol qualifications. And so that's when we get all our officer skills given to us by the staff at RMC, and then we come back to ADFA.
And what are the intakes for ADFA? When can you look to appoint?
Right after Australia Day. So I think it was for me it was 31st of January.
Yeah, for us it was the 29th of January.
Around that time, so one intake in January at the start of the year. So when would you say is the best time to start your application for ADFA?
As soon as
you
possible.
can.
Just to make sure that you get that dual application running and you've got everything sorted so that you can obviously make that yearly intake in January. Paul asked, what's the student to lecturer ratio on average? That's a very good question with a great answer.
Depends a little bit on what degree you're doing,
Yep.
but for engineering, because our classes are relatively small compared to arts, it's about a 20 to 1 or 30 to 1, which is beyond anything else you find in Australia.
So ADFA does have the best student to teacher ratios in the country. Adam, I know you were saying earlier that all your lecturers know you by name.
Yeah, really lucky. I can go up to them at any point throughout the day, just say, hey, g'day, how you going? And I can go into office like any time, and they're really open to helping us, and they're really invested in us as well.
Yeah. Fantastic. We've got a question. Do certain roles require more life experience as opposed to young recruits fresh out of school? We have a very varied, I guess, range of degrees here, ranging from Bachelor of Arts to cyber to electrical engineering. So I guess if you're looking at life experience, the answer would be no.
yeah,
You all came straight from school?
Generally at ADFA, no. If you're going for other officer roles, because you're going straight into a workforce as well, they're generally looking for more life experience. But if you come into ADFA, you're good to go.
And do you have to go straight from school to ADFA? I guess you all did, but that's not your only option, is it?
Absolutely not. You can have taken a gap year, as we were talking about. You're going to start at a degree and then be thinking about coming across. You're going to finish one degree and be looking at a second. We've had a couple of people transfer who were already in the military, and now they're coming across because they've decided they want to become officers and have that degree. So many different options.
And I guess our final question for the night, what has been your most memorable experience to date?
I'd say definitely for band, actually. Something that's not actually what you'd expect of military, I guess. We have a marching band, and we toured to Goulburn to do the Anzac Parade. And I think that was just a very different experience, being able to take something that you really love that's outside the military as well, and being able to do things just with your friends as well. So that was my highlight of this year.
So Bridget was mentioning earlier about single service training. So during one of those blocks earlier last year, I got to go down to Melbourne and go to the West Head Gunnery Range, which is where they test and develop all different types of weapons. So I got to fire the 50 cal machine gun and sit behind a 25mm as it was shooting, and just that was the highlight of my time at Adfa so far, and it's been absolutely amazing because that's what I get to go into when I finally get my job role, and it's exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, last year I was lucky enough when I got to go on an army sailing trip. May not sound very army, but we sailed from Bundaberg to Mackay on the army's only yacht called Gunrunner that likes to leak, which is always a whole lot of fun. And that's something that I was like, wow, I joined the Defence Force, I joined the army, and then I'm sailing in Mackay. This is amazing. So that was really something memorable.
And that's such a diverse range of experiences as well across all three services. So some really, really amazing things there that you've had the opportunity to experience. If it's something that you're interested in, we do have, again, the Adfa Open Day coming up at the end of the month. It is the 24th of August, okay? And the competition entries are open for our Adfa competition. Again, that's the chance to win a 2-day VIP experience at Adfa, including flights and accommodation, with a VIP tour, a meet and greet, and the opportunity to have a look at some hands-on equipment experience. Once again, you must be between 16 and 22 to apply, and entries do close on the 31st of July. You can find info online, and we will also post a link to the competition on this live video. Now that is all that we have time for today, so thank you so much for all your questions, everyone. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging around with us tonight to answer those for us. We've seen some really great answers from you as well. Remember, you can jump onto the Defence Jobs website to apply online or find out some more information. Any other questions that we haven't answered, we will get back to them in the next day or so. So thank you very much, and we'll see you at the next one.